my numbers look nice, so like, I appreciate it. They matter. I'm all about the numbers. Yeah, come on, yeah. I'm trying to YouTube them. Oh, I'm ready.
Thursday District Court is now back in session. Please remain quiet.
Okay, we are on the record. This is case 2459617, the people of the state of Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. Appearances, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Tina Ripley on behalf of the people, P83688.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Matthew Makepeace on behalf of the people, P82796.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon to your staff. Legal Defender Services by Ken Riggins, P82125 on behalf of Mr. Jarvis Butts.
Good afternoon, Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Fick, P83973, and also on behalf of Jarvis Butts and co-counsel Lauren Butler. Lauren Butler, P88126.
And Mr. Butts, sir, stand up and state your name. Okay, you can have a seat. All right, who will be doing the next witness?
Judge, that'll be me, and at this time, people would call Police Officer Derek Wolf.
Mr. Makepeace and Mr. Riggins?
Yes.
Or someone from defense counsel? Can I have you all approach? You can have a seat in the house, please. Okay, so the brief sidebar I had with Mr. Makepeace and Mr. Riggins regarding Officer Wolf. I just want to put on the record that Officer Wolf is an employee at 36th District Court. I do not have a personal relationship with him, only a working relationship in which he comes to the courtroom in 234 to do his job as a court officer. I want to make sure with the people in defense there's no objection to me hearing his testimony today.
No objection.
Okay, I'll swear you in. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, you can begin.
Can you state your name for the record, sir?
Derek Wolf.
And what do you do for a living currently?
I work at 36th District Court as a court officer.
And how long have you worked at 36th District Court?
2 months.
And prior to that, where did you work at?
Detroit Public School Police Department.
And how long did you in total work for the Detroit Public Schools?
17 and a half years.
You worked for DPS for 17 and a half years?
Yes.
And how long have you been in law enforcement in total?
39 years.
Before DPS, who did you work for?
I retired from Detroit Police Department.
And what were some of your common roles and responsibilities at the Detroit Public Schools Police Department?
We go to the school. Sometimes we talk to the kids. We take care of the buildings, take care of the principals, to take care of the family and make sure everybody's by the law.
And in January of 2024, what was your assignment at the DPS Police Department?
I was assigned to investigations.
And as part of that assignment, does that include going out and taking reports from people who are making police reports to the school police department?
Yes,
Okay. I want to direct your attention to January 10th, 2024. Did you go to J.E. Clark School in Detroit?
yes.
And what was the reason you went there, sir?
I got sent there by my lieutenant about a missing 13-year-old young lady from the school.
And when you went there, did you speak with someone who was making that report?
Yes.
Who was that person?
I talked to her guardian, her grandmother, which is her guardian.
And is that Annette Harris?
Yes.
And in terms of taking that report, what's that process like? I don't want to go into what anybody said to you, but what information are you looking for to gather to put into your report?
Okay, I'm making a missing report. So I asked Ms. Harris, when's the last time you seen her daughter? Her granddaughter. The description of what she have on. Has she ever been missing before? Does she have a boyfriend? Or she have friends she might go by the house and stay? Things of that sort.
And did you ask Ms. Harris all of those questions and get her answers?
Yes,
And then did you write an actual report?
yes.
Okay. After you write that report, do you have any role in actually investigating to attempting to locate the missing person?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do after writing the report?
After I did the report, I canvassed the area looking for this young lady, although she was gone for at least 24 hours because she was missing the day before. And then from that point, we didn't find anything. So I found out the bus number that she was on. I got the video, and it shows where she got off the bus at Cornwell and 3 Mile.
You said Cornwell and 3 Mile?
Cornwell and 3 Mile.
Okay.
And from that point, like I said, we went to the house, talked to the guardian again, talked to some of the people in the house, and then we went on in and let it go from there.
Sorry, just to be clear, you keep on saying we. Are you doing these things with a partner?
Yes,
And who is that partner?
Dale Gardner.
Okay. Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes.
And what is that is contained in Exhibit 2?
The school bus.
And is that a still shot from the video that you pulled or that you received?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the bus that you identified that Neziah Harris was on?
Yes.
Okay. May I have one moment, Judge?
Yes.
I have another, Judge.
Okay, cross.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf, you were dispatched to the J.E. Clark School because you're an investigator for DPS.
I was not dispatched. The lieutenant came to the office and told us to go by the school for the missing.
Okay, so you were requested, your presence was requested at the school.
Yeah, from my lieutenant.
You don't have an office within the school,
No,
so you're not like the school resource officer, per se.
no.
Okay. And you said you met with Ms. Annette Harris on the 10th,
Yes.
and that's in January of 2024.
January. Yes.
But that was early in the morning,
Around between 11 and 12.
so school was in session at that time.
Yes.
Did you speak with the teacher who was in Neziah's classroom on the 9th of January?
No.
Did you speak with any of Neziah's known friends?
In the investigation, yes.
You did. Who did you speak to?
I can't recall that.
Did you write them in a report?
No, not a missing report.
Okay, so you spoke with folks, but you didn't record their names?
I recorded it probably on my run sheet, but not inside the missing report.
And you didn't take statements from anybody?
Not at Tana.
Ever?
No.
Okay. Did you speak with anybody else at the school about Messiah, either on the 10th or any time after that?
Only on the 10th, I talked to the guardian, which is the grandmother, and a couple of students.
A couple.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many?
A couple, too.
2. Okay. Just want to make sure we have the same definition of a couple. And you said you canvassed the area?
Yes.
What area did you canvass?
The 3 Mile area, we were all around there, checking the alleys, knocking on doors, seeing if we can get some video, doorbell, camera footage, things like that.
3 Mile, is that 3 Mile Drive?
3 Mile in Cornwall, that area.
Okay, and that's where the bus stop was?
Yes.
Where Messiah would have gotten off the bus?
Yes.
Anywhere else around the school?
We checked around the schools. We checked on, matter of fact, on her street as well. We didn't find anything.
In her classroom, does she have a locker or a cubby or anything where she stores items?
I can answer that question.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Fair to say then that you didn't check?
I may have, but I can't recall right now because it's
Is there
been such a long time.
Is there a report that documents whether you did or not?
No.
Okay. And after you did the canvass of the area of 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall, what else did you do?
I went back to the station, advised the lieutenant of what we came up with,
Which was what?
which was I talked to the parent, the grandparent, talked to a couple of students. We didn't find anything from doing our search of the area.
So did you do anything else in regards to investigating?
No, I did not, because I was getting ready to retire, so I was done.
Okay. I don't have anything further.
Any redirect?
Very briefly, Judge. How long, you were first notified about this on the 10th, correct?
Yes.
And how long did you stay involved in the investigation?
That day.
Okay, so your activities that Ms. Quick asked you about contained, all happened on the 10th of January?
Yes.
What happened to the investigation after the 10th?
If someone else's investigation would have took over, besides me, because once again I was leaving, but I gave all the information that I had along with my run sheet as well. So
It was
from
passed
that
off to another investigator?
yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay, and then are you aware of what happened after that?
No.
Okay. And you said that on the 10th, your lieutenant came in and asked you to go to J.E. Clark?
Yes.
And who is your lieutenant?
At the time it was George Harris.
Okay. I know you're pretty good.
I just clarification. You said you were leaving. Are you mean leaving DPS or leaving
Yeah,
for the day?
retiring.
Okay, thank you. Any questions based off of my question?
No, Judge.
Okay, you were all done.
And Judge, at this time, people would call forensic tech Margaret Lavala.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Watch your step on the stairs.
Thank you.
Don't speak to the mic. You don't have to pick up the whole in your lap.
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Judge. Good Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Margaret Lavallo.
And where are you employed?
Currently, I'm employed with the Macomb County Medical Examiner's Office
And when did you start there?
in July of 2024.
And before starting there, where did you work?
I worked with the Detroit Police Department as a forensic technician.
Okay. And how long had you had that job?
I was there for about 6 years.
And what, as a forensic technician, what are your roles and responsibilities?
We would respond to scenes in the city of Detroit. We would take photos, collect evidence, search for evidence, and then compile a report based on our findings.
And I want to take you back to March 14th of 2024. Were you working with Detroit Police as a forensic tech at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working alone or with a partner?
That day I was working alone.
And I want to take you to the area of 7 Mile and Berg. Is that in the city of Detroit?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you dispatched to that location on March 14th, 2024?
Yes, I was.
And what is it that you did at that location?
At that location, there was a wooded area just south of 7 Mile to the west of Berg, and we searched that wooded area for evidence related to a potential missing person.
Okay. And what is it that you did when you searched?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What is it that you do when you search an area?
We will canvass the area in an ordered fashion, myself along with the other officers that are on scene. We are looking for things that are out of the ordinary or might suggest that something had taken place at that location.
And did you know what you were looking for at that location?
We were looking for clothing and shoes.
Okay. And did you take any photos?
I did.
And did you collect any evidence?
I did.
Okay. And I want to show you, may I first look proposed exhibit 14?
Yes.
Showing you the Market People's proposed exhibit 14, the PowerPoint. Could you tell me, do you recall going to this area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And these photos, there are 129 of them. Do they fairly and accurately depict the scene of 7 Mile and Berg as you saw it that day, back on March 14th of 2024?
Yes, they do, the best of my recollection.
And Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 14.
No objection.
Okay, they'll be admitted.
Thank you. Did you end up finding any evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
What evidence did you find?
We collected a pink jumpsuit, like bodysuit style, and then a black hoodie that had a pair of white headphones in one of the pockets, some gloves, a towel, and a pair of red, black, and white gym shoes.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
Says you have to allow me.
Okay, try it out.
And what, so this is in People's Exhibit 14, this is going to be photo 2. What is it that we have here?
So this is the photo card that we would take at the beginning of processing any crime scene. It includes the date, the time, the location that we are responding to, as well as who is the current officer in charge that ordered us out to that location, the crime or suspected crime that we're investigating, as well as my name, the code that I'm working, and the report number that is assigned to that case.
Okay. Now I'm going to not go through all 129 photos here. I'm going to show you some that I want to reference. This is for record purposes, photo 30. What do we see here in photo 30?
We are looking west down, so that fence on the left of the photograph is the fence for an abandoned building at the south end of a parking lot on the west side of Berg. We are looking west towards the Rouge River into that wooded area. You can see what is that pink jumpsuit in the background of the photograph.
Okay. And in 33, what do we see here?
That is one of the black, red, and white gym shoes that we collected from the wooded area that I had previously stated.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that that's a left foot shoe?
Yes.
Okay. And in picture 35, what do we have here?
That was a photograph of the inside of the shoe, of the size tag.
And in 37, what do we see here?
Again, we are still looking in that wooded area. That is the black jacket that was collected. It is towards the front of the photograph, kind of behind that tree branch.
And in 42,
That was a close-up of the black hooded jacket that we recovered.
okay. And would it be fair to say that you opened up the jacket, or is this how you saw it?
We did open up the jacket to examine it, yes.
Okay. And in 45, what's in 45?
So that is looking in one of the pockets of the jacket.
And can you see what's inside the pocket at that point, or no?
That photograph, I believe there is a paper and might be the pair of headphones.
Okay. And in 47,
Yes.
what are we looking at there?
So yes, that is the paper and the pair of headphones that was recovered from that pocket.
Okay. And 50?
So that is going to be the hood of that hooded jacket. We noted that there are several holes in the jacket of unknown origin.
Yeah. And 52, what do we see here?
Again, we are looking into the wooded area. You can see that pink jumpsuit that is stuck in the branches of those trees.
And in 63?
Again, a closer shot of that pink jumpsuit.
In 78, what do we see here?
That is the right foot of the red, black, and white shoe that was recovered. That was located in the trees near that jumpsuit.
Okay. And is that fair to say the right foot?
Yes.
Okay. And 79, what do we have here?
That is a photo of the inside tag of that shoe to show its size.
And in 88?
That is the pink jumpsuit that we recovered.
And 89?
That's a photo of the size and the label of that jacket. That jacket jumpsuit.
And in 120?
That is a photo of the Rouge River.
Okay. So how close was the Rouge River, I guess, to the area that you were searching?
So there was a large parking lot just off of the west side of Berg, and then there was an embankment leading down to the river. I would say less than 500 feet.
What condition was the evidence that we just saw in the photos? What was the condition of it?
It was wet, it was dirty, it was currently raining when we were out at that scene, so.
What did you do with the evidence once you photographed it?
Once it was photographed, we collected it, I collected it and took it from the scene. The items that were wet, we then brought to the Detroit Police Department evidence garage, where we have a drying chamber so that that evidence could be dried in a safe, secure, and way so that any type of DNA evidence could be preserved. And then once that evidence was then dried, it was packaged and processed and submitted to the DPD property unit.
And you would have been the one who placed those items in the drying chamber?
Yes.
And are you also the one who placed them on evidence afterwards?
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So I believe you said that it was raining on the day that you were dispatched out to this location at the site.
That is correct.
Had it been raining most of the morning?
To the best of my recollection.
When you were dispatched out by somebody at DPD,
That is correct.
when you arrived at this site, were there already people on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people would you say?
Approximately 10.
10. Were they all Detroit police officers, or were there other people there as well?
Everyone that I spoke with was with the Detroit Police Department.
Okay. But could you say for certain that everybody there was DPD?
No.
You were notified prior to leaving, or when you got there maybe, what evidence or what items you were actually looking for?
They told us we were looking for clothing.
Okay. Were you under the impression that somebody had seen something and wanted you to come out and photograph it and tag it?
Yes,
Okay. So you weren't the first person out there to see it?
that is correct.
Do you know who originally had seen the items?
I do not.
So you didn't speak with anybody about where they initially located them?
I spoke with the officers that were at that scene, that called me out to that scene, and they directed me to where that evidence had been located.
Okay. But you can't say for sure where the items were located before you had gotten there, fair to say?
Correct.
Did you see anybody else handle those items?
No,
But again, you couldn't say for sure that nobody did.
I can't say what happened before my arrival on the scene.
One of the items was a black hoodie, right?
That is correct.
Fair to say that it appeared pretty weathered.
Yes.
I think the report notes that there's like spider webs on it,
Yes.
some detritus leaves, that kind of thing.
Yes.
There was also a pink bodysuit.
That is correct.
Now that was not on the ground, correct?
No,
That was in some branches a distance away.
that is correct.
About how far away were those two items from one another?
Not that far, but I couldn't give an estimate right now of distance.
Okay, yeah, I don't want you to guess. Fair to say that the jumpsuit didn't necessarily appear similarly weathered to the hoodie?
No, it did not.
It did have some like dirt or stains on it,
It did, yes.
but it wasn't quite as weathered, I guess, same word I could use.
I would say so, yes.
Okay. So you collected the items.
Mm-hmm.
When you did so, did you wear disposable gloves?
I did.
Did you wear a new pair of gloves for each item that you collected?
I did.
Okay. And each item went into a separate bag.
That is correct.
It's got its own tag.
Yes.
And then you yourself drove them to this evidence garage.
Yes.
Now, this evidence garage, where is it at?
It's located at 11631 Mount Elliott in the city of Detroit.
And you yourself checked them in at the garage.
Yes.
What is the process for that?
So it is placed in our evidence tracker system, and there is a label in there to say that it is at the garage for drying. So it was noted that that was where it was going to be. The drying chamber is in a locked room, and then the chamber itself is also locked. So the key was acquired from my sergeant, my supervisor, to get into that room. The items were then hung up in a way that they were not touching each other. They did not come into contact with each other during the drying process. Then this chamber was locked back up. The door to the room was locked, and the key was returned to my supervisor. Then after 24 hours, then I returned to then collect that evidence, where it was all packaged individually in their own bag, and then that was then taped, secured, and turned over to property.
And you did all that yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you took each of the took each of the items out of their respective bags, again, did you wear disposable gloves?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you change those gloves every time you handled a different piece of evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you recollected them, you put them in fresh bags?
Yes.
And you, again, used disposable gloves?
Yes.
And did you use different ones every time you
Yes, ma'am.
handled each item?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't have anything else, thank you.
Just briefly, Ms. Lavalla, when you placed these items on evidence, are they each given like a specific evidence tag number?
Yes,
Okay, and could we just go through those really quickly? Do you have a report?
I do.
Okay, if you need to refresh your memory at all, please let me know. And if you want to refer to your report to refresh your memory, just let us know, okay? So for the red, black, and white Nike gym shoes, those were placed in evidence?
Yes.
And do you recall what tag number they were?
Can I refresh?
If that would refresh your memory, yes.
So those were item 84.
Okay, and that black hoodie that was also placed in evidence?
I'm sorry, I don't know if I check again to refresh.
Yes.
So the black hoodie was item 85.
And what about that pink bodysuit?
That was going to be item 86.
Okay. And the headphones and paper, did you package those separately or together?
Can I refresh my report? Look at my report.
If that would refresh your memory.
So the headphones and paper were packaged together because they came from the same pocket under item 88.
88? Okay. And there were a couple other items that you also placed in evidence?
That is correct.
Okay. What were the other items?
There was a pair of gloves that was recovered from the wooded area as well, and a brown, blue, gray towel. It was a dirty towel, a dirty wet towel from near the parking lot.
Okay. And did you place that towel on evidence?
Yes.
What number did you place that on?
May I refresh?
Yes.
So the towel was 82.
Okay. And what about those gloves you were talking about?
The gloves were 83.
Okay. Was there any other items?
There was like a Ziploc bag that was recovered from the other jacket pocket that was placed under item 89.
Okay. And anything else?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. Was there any kind of rubber bracelet?
Oh, sorry. Yes, there was a rubber bracelet that was recovered from that wooded area as well.
Okay. And was that on evidence also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was that placed on?
May I refresh?
If it would refresh your memory, yes.
Thank you. That was item number 87.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, you all done testifying. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next witness.
At this time, people would call Taa Moore.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Watch your step.
Speak into the mic here. Pick it up and hold it in your lap if you like.
Mayor, thank you. Could you state your name for the record?
Taa Moore.
And, excuse me, Ms. Moore, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, but first I want to ask you, do you know someone by the name of Cordell Wright?
I do.
And how do you know Mr. Wright?
He is the father of my nephew, my 17-year-old nephew.
So, your sister's son?
Yes.
Gotcha. And is that how you met Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Through your sister?
Yes.
Okay. And in what context is your relationship with Mr. Wright? How did you know him? Did he ever do anything for you? Things like that?
He fixed my mother's car. He worked on her car.
Okay. And what kind of car does your mother drive?
A red Jaguar.
And what's your mom's name?
Jacqueline Campbell.
And going back to January of 2024, where were you living at the time? Not your specific address, just the city.
Ypsilanti.
And who else lived with you in Ypsilanti?
My mom and my son.
And would Mr. Wright ever come out to Ypsilanti to fix your mom's car, her Jaguar?
Yes,
How often did he do that?
like a couple times, at least 2 times.
And, and was that around January of 2024?
That was the last time.
In January was the
Yes.
last time? And when he would go out there, would he bring anyone with him?
This last time he did.
What about
Well,
prior?
the last 2 times. So before January 9th, him and someone else came, and then on January 9th, they both came.
Okay. And the person that he brought with him, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing he's wearing?
Well, I can only see the top of his head right now.
Are you 100% sure that it's that person? Could we have everyone remove their masks, Judge, just for a brief moment?
If everyone in the courtroom could remove their mask if they have one on, please.
Ms. Moore, do you see the person that Mr. Wright brought with him?
I do.
And could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing he's wearing?
A green one-piece thing.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
So reflected.
Thank you. And you said Mr. Butts came out how many times with Cordell?
At least 2. So this last time in January and the time before that.
Okay, and the time before that, who was anyone else with the 2 of them?
No.
And what were they doing the time before January 9th?
Working on the car. We I can't remember. It was a couple of things they had to fix on it, and they came out and did it in the driveway. And
Sorry.
no. I was just gonna say the last time when we got the car towed to the shop and they drove it back up.
Okay. And so in between the most recent time before January 9th, the Jaguar, correct me if I'm wrong, was towed to Detroit?
Correct.
Okay. And then on January 9th, did you see that red Jaguar again?
Yeah.
Okay. Who brought that Jaguar out to Ypsilanti?
Cordell and Jarvis.
Okay. And was anyone else with Cordell and Jarvis?
Yes.
Who is that person?
Naziah.
And I want to clarify, at the time on the 9th, when Cordell, Jarvis, and Naziah came, did you know that that was Naziah Harris?
No,
Do you know that now?
I do know now.
Okay. And is that based on information you've learned or seen in the news and things like that?
Well, it was based on when the detectives came to the house to question us. That's when I found out
Okay.
who she was.
But at the
Okay.
time on the 9th, you didn't know?
Mm-mm.
Is that a no?
No, yes or no, I did not know.
Now, let's talk about when they came out on the 9th, January 2024. What was that interaction? How long did it last? Can you kind of take me through, start to finish, their visit and delivering the car?
So they came, they delivered the car. They were talking to my mom about what was wrong, gave her the invoice. It was just like a regular day when they came in, they sat on the couch for a few minutes. Naziah was sitting in the chair by the TV. We spoke, very brief. Asked her if she wanted something to drink. She didn't. My 6-year-old son ran up to her, the dog. It was just very mellow. They sat there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave, so they didn't get to stay long enough for my nephew to come.
And your nephew would be Cordell's son?
Cordell's son, yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Did you talk to Mr. Butts about Naziah? Did he introduce her or anything like that?
We just asked, hey, everybody spoke. He said this is his niece, and that was pretty much the basis of it. I cannot remember if he said her name or not, but he did introduce her as his niece.
And so, just to be clear, not sure about the name, but he said this is his niece, about Naziah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then after that conversation, let me ask you, during that time when they were there, did you notice anything that was unsettling or concerning about Naziah?
No.
It was just a normal interaction?
Yes.
After that interaction was over, did The three of them, Cordell, Jarvis, and Nasiah, leave your house?
Yes,
Okay. And as far as you know, they were headed back to Detroit, correct?
correct.
When they left, whose car were they leaving in?
Cordell's truck.
And all three of them were in the same car?
Yes,
And you said that they were delivering the Jaguar to your mom or to your house, correct?
yes.
Did you see them pull up? Do you know what the driving and seating arrangements was?
I do not.
I have nothing further, Christine.
Okay, Ross?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, you're technically not related to Cordell, right?
Correct.
That's just the uncle of, I'm sorry, he is the
The
father
father.
of your nephew. Okay? How would you say your relationship is with Mr. Wright?
It's cool, like, no issues.
You got along with him well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
And you know Cordell worked as a mechanic?
correct.
Okay. And how long has he worked on your vehicles? Was this something new, or had he worked on your vehicles previously?
I think he might have changed the oil on one of my cars a couple years back, but not that frequently.
Okay. And you knew he had did you know he had a shop that he worked out of?
Yes,
Okay. Had you been to this shop?
yes,
Okay. And you said that there was a time prior to January 9th that he came up and worked on the car, correct?
correct.
And you said that my client was with him that time.
Correct.
Do you recall when that was?
It had to be in the summer. I cannot recall the exact date.
But it was summer of 2023?
Yes,
Okay. And that was the first time you had seen Jarvis Butts?
yes,
Did you say anything to him that day?
yes.
The
We
first
talked.
time?
Yes, we talked about me being a member of Zeta and that he had a cousin or somebody that was a Zeta. We all went to O'Reilly's to get some parts or something for the car.
Okay.
Stopped and got something to eat, came back, but it was very mellow, like.
So that summer of 2023, you had a fairly decent conversation with them, correct?
Correct,
And it lasted for a period of time, correct?
correct,
So on January 9th, when you saw him, you knew who he was.
correct,
You had recognized him because you had spent time with him, correct?
correct,
Okay. So you had the car, and you knew that he was partnered with Cordell at the shop, correct?
correct.
Okay. So on January 9th, approximately when did you have the car towed down to his shop?
I think we had it towed maybe like the 4th or the 5th.
So it was there from the 4th, okay? And it was the 9th that they brought it back?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know approximately what time the car was brought back?
Had to be before 3:30 p.m.
There was three.
Well, no. It had to be before 5:30 because my sister got off work at 5:30. So mid-afternoon.
Okay. But you're not sure the exact time?
I'm not sure the exact time.
Was it light or dark outside?
It was still light out.
Okay. And they came up, they pulled the Jaguar in first, the driveway,
Correct.
right? And then Cordell's car was behind it.
I believe so.
Okay, when they pulled up, did you see them exit the vehicles?
No,
Okay, so you don't know who was driving what?
I don't.
Okay. So at that point, they came into the house, correct?
Correct.
And did they all walk in together? Or
Yes.
Okay, so Cordell came in, followed by Jarvis, correct?
I can't tell you the exact. I don't know I don't know if Naziah walked in first or if Jarvis walked in first.
Okay. And this young lady, and to be fair, you didn't know who she was,
Not
correct?
at all.
Do you recall what she was wearing when she came?
I think she had on a jacket. But I can't really,
Don't recall?
no.
Okay. Do you recall what any of them had on that day?
Not really.
Okay. So, do you recall, without going into your house, was it dark, light in your house? Were the lights on?
The lights were on.
Okay. And you have a fairly large living room?
Yeah.
Okay. So when they came in, you said that Naziah sat next to the television.
So yeah, like if when you're coming in, there's like a red cabinet type thing. The TV sits on top of it, and then there's a chair right, like a chair sitting right next to it, and that's where she was sitting.
Okay. And when she came in, did she introduce herself?
She did not.
Okay. So she came in, sat down, right?
We offered her to see, like, came in, Cordell said hello. He was doing most of the talking. Jarvis said hello. Said, this is my niece. Then it was like, y'all have a seat.
Okay.
Cordell sat on the couch. There's a couch this way, and then a long couch this way.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, I believe that they were both on this couch. Naziah was in the chair, and me and my mom were on the longer couch.
So your mom was there?
Yeah.
Correct? All right. And you all were conversing, correct?
Correct.
And it's fair to say that you weren't conversing with Naziah, correct?
No.
You were conversing with Jarvis. I'm sorry, you were conversing with Cordell.
Cordell and Jarvis about the car and the invoice that they brought.
All right. And you said at some point your son came up and was talking with Naziah?
Correct.
Okay. And how long did this conversation last?
Like all of
Approximately.
our conversation?
Right. How long were they there?
Probably between like 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe an hour.
And while they were there, you didn't notice anything, and I think you already mentioned this, you didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, correct?
Correct.
Did you see Jarvis Butts conversing with Naziah Harris?
No.
So they didn't have any conversation?
No.
Okay. And you didn't notice anything awkward or out of the ordinary between the two?
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't notice anything.
So after about an hour, they left?
Correct.
Was it light or dark? At
It
that
was
point?
still fairly light.
All right. And they got into Cordell's car, correct?
Correct.
You don't remember the scene, I think you've already
No, I
said that.
do not.
But was Cordell driving?
Correct.
Okay. So that day you didn't think anything out of the ordinary happened, correct?
Correct.
And at some point you were contacted, correct?
Correct.
When were you contacted?
Well, we were contacted by Cordell the next day because when we paid the invoice, it was $70 short. So we had to get Jarvis's Cash App to send the rest of the money. So that was the last part of the conversation. And then the detectives came, I want to say the end of March,
So the end of March. So
I believe. I don't know the exact day, but it was at least a month or two later.
and it was when the detectives came, is when you found out that the person that was in your house was Naziah Harris, correct?
Correct.
All right. And did they tell you that this person was Naziah Harris?
They asked me if I knew who she was, and they asked me if I knew who Cordell was. They showed me a picture of Mr. Butts. They asked me if I knew who all these people were. And they asked me if I knew her name, and I did not know her name at that time.
Okay. And they told you her name?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. And at any point, did you look up why they were there or look up any information about this case?
Yeah, after they left.
After they left? Okay, and what did you look up?
Objection, relevance.
I just want to see where her information came from.
As long as the results of what she looked up.
I want to see the information that she had that go into her testimony.
Go ahead.
There's obviously there's podcasts out that are a bit unfavorable.
It's not obvious.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Okay. What did you look up?
I looked up Mr. Butts' oldest record,
Okay.
but I tried to type in his name, I typed in Cordell's name, tried to see if anything came up. At that time, there wasn't anything posted, but I didn't find much, other than his record.
Okay. Just one more thing. No further questions.
You need redirect?
Yeah, very brief. Ms. Moore, Mr. Riggins was just asking you about information that you looked up and things like that. When the police were at your house, though, when the detectives were at your house, first, do you know if those were Detroit police officers?
Yes, Detroit police
Detectives, okay. And you said that they showed you a picture of, in court, you said Neziah, right?
Say it one more time.
They showed you a picture of Neziah at that time, correct?
Correct.
Did you identify that picture when the police were there as Neziah Harris? Did you say her name?
No, I said that's the mechanic's niece.
So, just to be clear, you identified her as the girl that was at your house
Correct.
with the defendant, Jarvis Butts.
Correct.
Okay. And that was before you had looked up any information?
Correct, because I didn't know anything until the detectives came to the house.
And while Neziah and Jarvis and Cordell were at your house, you said Neziah was sitting next to the TV?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And did Neziah, during that 30 minutes to an hour, ever get up and leave, use the restroom or anything like that?
No.
Oh. And you mentioned earlier that Cordell was on a tether and that's the reason he had to leave, right?
Correct.
Do you know what Cordell's tether hours were at that time? Like what time he had to be back home by?
I don't know.
Okay. How far of a drive is it from Detroit to Ypsilanti?
Probably about 40 minutes.
And what was the reason that Cordell had to leave again?
Because he said he had to be back in the house for his tether.
Okay, so did it seem like he was in a little bit of a rush to get back, or he was cutting it close maybe with that drive, 40 minutes?
No, I think he had whatever he needed to do, and he just wanted to make sure he was in the city on time.
But is it fair to say that he would have left somewhat closer to his cutoff time? If that's the reason he left, or that he said?
Yeah,
I
object. I think that calls for speculation on her part.
I was going to say, I don't
Hold
know.
on.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to respond?
If she knows, I think it's a close call.
If you know the answer.
I don't. I don't know. I can't say.
I have no further addressing.
Okay, you are done testifying.
Thank you.
Watch your step. Ms. Ripley?
Yes, Judge. At this time, people would call Taa Butts.
I was going to ask, does anyone need a 5-10 minute break? Are we all okay?
I'll take.
Okay, 5 minutes. Use the restroom.
Yes.
Come back at 2:15.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay. Watch your step. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Ripley.
Thank you, Judge.
You're gonna speak to the mic, the one you hold it in your lap.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Taa Butts,
All right. And how old are you, Ms. Butts?
46.
And do you know someone named Jarvis Butts?
Yes,
And how is it that you know him?
he's my brother.
Okay. And how old is Jarvis Butts?
42.
And do you know his birthday?
Yes,
When's his birthday?
November 21st, 1982.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
I saw him walking in.
Okay. And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
He has on, I believe it's dark green shirt. He's sitting behind the lady to the side of you.
And Your Honor, would the record reflect when it says identified the defendant in this case?
So reflective. And just to be clear, you said I saw him walking in. You saw him when you were walking in or when he was walking in?
When I was walking in just now.
Thank you.
And Ms. Butts, where did you know Jarvis to work?
He worked at a shop on Warren and Neff, called Frank's, and then he moved to a shop on Hopper and Connors. I don't know the name of it.
And Ms. Butts, do you remember talking to Detroit police back on February 26th of 2024?
Yes,
And what's the reason that you went and talked to Detroit police?
I had reason to believe that I saw Messiah the day she went missing.
Okay. Tell me about that. What makes you believe that you saw Naziah on the day she went missing?
Where do you want me to start this alive?
So, from the very beginning, where is it that you think you saw Naziah?
At the shop on Harbor and Connors.
Okay, and whose shop is it?
My brother Jarvis Butts and his partner.
Okay. What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure it was safe for me to drive.
Do you recall about what time did you go to Jarvis's shop that day?
About 4 p.m., give or take a few minutes.
Okay, and around what time did you leave?
Somewhere between 6 and 6:30.
Okay. And what is it that you noticed while you were at the shop?
So, it's a car, like garage. So I was sitting outside of the shop in my car because they were working on another car on the inside. As I sat there for the time that I was there, I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck, going to the gas station and going back to his car.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. Whose car are we talking about?
My brother.
Okay, and what kind of car was it?
Believe the Cadillac Escalade.
Okay, do you remember what color?
Kind of like a pearl white, off white cream color.
Okay, and you said you described this as like a 2 garage shop.
Yes.
Okay, and I want to approach with people's Exhibit 7.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Butts, do you recognize what is it we're looking at in People's Exhibit 7?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
That is the shop
Okay.
right in the middle.
And where at were you parked when you saw someone getting in and out of Jarvis's truck?
In front of the car doors of the garage right here, I was parked facing, I don't know what direction it is, but going towards garage. I was like in front, but outside.
Okay, so you were kind of parked parallel with the road.
Yes.
Okay. Can you draw a T where your truck was?
My car?
Yeah, your car was.
Can I?
Yes. And then put an arrow the way you were facing. And where is it where that Jarvis's truck was? Just put a J where Jarvis's truck was. And what way was his truck facing?
It was facing my direction, so the front was towards me.
Towards you. Okay, so put an arrow for that direction. Okay. Thank you. Now, do you get a look at this little girl that you see getting in and out of his car?
I saw her, as she was walking. I never saw her face.
Did you see any clothing?
I did.
Okay. Did anything about the clothing stick out to you or that you remember?
I just remember her having on a colorful jacket.
Okay. And what door, which side do you remember seeing her getting in and out of Jarvis's truck? Or did it change?
I don't really remember.
Okay, that's okay. So you said you mostly remember a jacket, a colorful jacket.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you what's marked as People's Exhibit 2, which is already admitted, and People's Proposed Exhibit 10. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Handing you what's marked as People's Exhibits 2 and 10. Okay. Do you recognize anything in those photos?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
What is it that you recognize?
Right here, this jacket.
And for the record, you're pointing up in channel 1, and you recognize this like pink colorful jacket?
Yes.
Okay. And that's in People's Exhibit 10? Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 10 as Exhibit 10. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you saw that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move for the proposed People's Exhibit 10.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, it'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 10.
Okay. And in People's 2, is that also, where is the what you recognize People's Exhibit 2?
It looks like channel 2 here, maybe. Like,
Okay, facing the back?
yeah.
Okay. And you recognize the jacket in this photo too, right? Yes.
It's a little blurry, but it looks the same.
Okay.
Same.
And what about in channel 1 of Exhibit 2?
It would be this one right here.
Okay, and it's fair to say that's the back of a jacket? It seems to be the back of a jacket? Okay, thank you. And you said that you saw this little girl with this jacket on getting in and out going into the gas station?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know who this little girl was at the time?
No.
Okay. Is there a time that you ever get out of your car?
Yes.
And what do you do?
I needed to use the restroom, so I asked his partner if I could use the restroom. He told me to go and tell him in the gas station. And as I was walking towards the gas station, she was walking in front of me going into the gas station.
Okay. So about how far in front of you was she?
I would say maybe where the gentleman in the gray blazer is behind you. Maybe a little bit further, I'm not really sure about that distance.
From where you are to him?
Yeah.
Okay. And boy, I'm really bad at estimates.
20, 25 feet?
Yeah, I would agree with about 20, 25 feet. And you said you never got a chance to see this little girl's face.
No.
Was there anything else about her that you can remember?
I just remember her being kind of small, like outside of just seeing her get in and out of the car. When I was walking towards her, I was like, she's tiny, and I just remembered the coat.
Okay. Tiny, like in what way? Like tiny, skinny, short?
Kind of skinny and short.
Okay. And did you ever ask Jarvis who the little girl was?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me, and I can't remember if it was this exact word, or he said it's my partner's niece, or he said it was King's niece.
Okay, but you knew who he was referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Did you think anything of it at the time?
No.
Okay. And what is it that made you think something? Was there a time where you thought something different?
Yes.
Okay. And what is it that made you think something different?
I received phone call, well, a video call from one of his kids' mom, and she told me about some things that happened on Valentine's Day, and then she sent me a video of a podcast about my brother.
Okay. And what did you do as a result of receiving those things?
I called Shannon and I asked her for Sergeant Jones' phone number.
Okay. And who's the Shannon that you called?
His kid's mom.
Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. Do you do anything before you go and talk to Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that you do?
Okay, so after having a conversation with Shannon Harris and his other kid's mom, I was informed that his partner King, I guess something happened where the
Objection, this is hearsay.
There's not a statement yet, Judge.
Being informed.
I'm not sure what she's even about to say.
Okay, just to the extent that it's informed of someone else's statement.
You might have to object in a couple moments.
You need to speak up.
If you could stand up and
Please.
make your objection.
Yes, just objecting to the fact that she was informed of something. It appears this might be hearsay, but we'll see. Yeah.
Could you finish what you were saying? I don't know where you were going with this.
I'm trying to remember where I left. Okay, so after talking to Shannon Harris and his other kid's mom, I was informed of some things that had taken place I think Valentine's Day. So they told me that his partner King.
Okay, so at this point, this is hearsay. They told me and the lack of personal knowledge to the things that she was informed of.
Can I finish?
1 second.
What?
What is an
Sorry.
objection here?
I'm
Everybody-
sorry.
The witness
Sorry.
has to stop talking.
So, based on those, do you go and talk to someone else?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you go and talk to?
His partner King
Okay. And where is it that you go and talk to King at?
at the shop on Harbor Encounters.
Okay. And without telling me what King said, kind of describe what was your conversation about?
Well, I went to see what happened and what was going on. During that time, I told him that I had never seen any little girl at my brother's shop besides my nieces, outside of the little girl that I saw getting out of his truck that day.
Okay.
And you told this to who?
King.
Okay.
And who is King again?
His business partner.
Okay, and do you know his government name?
I believe it's Cordero or something like that. I just always call him King.
Okay. So you went and told him that you hadn't seen anyone out at the shop besides your nieces and then the one little girl you saw that one day.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask him about that little girl?
Well, I didn't ask him about it. After I said that to him, he told me.
Objection, Your Honor, this is going to be hearsay again.
Judge, it's going to go to the effect on the listening.
There could be an exception. I don't know what she's saying. So you might as well just stay standing up. Go ahead, say what you were going to say.
After I mentioned to him that I had only saw my nieces and one particular little girl, he then told me that that was Naziah that I saw that day and I was there.
So I would object then, given now that she has testified to that it is hearsay, that it is being introduced for the truth.
And Judge, I would say that it's actually a statement of identification.
So this is not an identification that she personally made, she's just being told.
I mean, she saw Naziah that day, so it's.
She didn't know who it was. I mean, she had no idea who this was. That's
She
not
didn't know
her
who he was.
identification.
So it is hearsay.
Okay. So, without saying what King said, were you informed of anything about a little girl that you saw on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, Jarvis had told you that that was King's niece?
Yes.
Okay. And when you talked to King, did you have reason to not believe what Jarvis told you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know your nieces from Jarvis? Sorry. That is a poorly worded question. I am sorry. If that was your niece, would you have recognized her that day?
Yes.
Okay. And you did not recognize this little girl as your niece, did you?
No.
Okay. What is it that you did after speaking with King that day?
I called Shannon Harris and I asked her for Sergeant Jones' phone number.
Okay. And did you eventually talk to Sergeant Jones?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. What day was it that you went to the shop and saw the little girl?
Can I ask you a question? I didn't remember the exact date at that time.
Okay. What is it that makes you believe that it was Naziah Harris that you saw on that day?
I'm not quite sure how to answer what you're asking me. Like,
That may be a poorly worded question. I'm sorry. Can I just have 1 second, Judge?
Yes.
Ms. Butts, did you come to learn of the day that you had gone to Jarvis's shop by going through the locations on your phone?
yes,
Okay. And that's the date that you don't remember off the top of your head right now, but it is revealed in your phone locations?
yes.
Okay. Let's see here. One second, Judge. Get her finder. When is it that you went through your phone locations to determine the date? Oh, I'm sorry, do you need a moment?
I believe it's February, I think like 24th or the 26th. I can't remember the exact date.
Okay, that's when you would have went through your phone to find those?
Yes,
Okay, and did you also go through that in your interview with Sergeant Jones?
yes,
Okay. And did you give Sergeant Jones permission to look at your location data?
yes,
Okay. And your phone kind of extraction in general? Like to go through your phone for the data?
yes.
Okay. Nothing else, Judge.
Okay, press.
So you go to the shop where your brother works periodically, right?
From time to time, yes,
You've been there prior to the day we've been talking about today?
yes,
A couple times at least?
yes,
And you'd been back there after?
yes,
But the day we've been talking about, that's the only time you ever saw a child there?
that was the only time I saw a child I didn't recognize.
Okay, so you had seen other children there before?
Yes,
Okay. When you say that you recognize, these are who exactly?
my
Usually?
nieces,
And when you first arrived at the shop that day, Jarvis told you that he wasn't going to be able to work on your car?
no,
No? Did you ask him if he'd be able to?
Judge, I think this calls for hearsay. They can't admit statements of the defendant.
I'm looking more so for her own statement, actually.
For her
We'll
what?
start with her own statement.
Okay.
Did you ask him right away if he would be able to work on your car
I talked to him prior to coming to the shop.
before you arrived? You asked if he could work on your car that day?
I asked him to look at my car that day.
Okay. Did you arrive at the shop with the understanding that he would or would not be able to?
I arrived at the shop knowing that he was going to look at my car.
Okay. One moment. And was that via text or call or some other way?
Probably a video call.
Okay, so a video call a little bit before you headed over?
Earlier in the day, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what time.
Okay, so that's how you decided that you'd go over later.
He told me I could come.
Judge, this is kind of all calling for hearsay in a backdoor way.
The response is hearsay. Not
Yes.
that you necessarily asked for it, but it is hearsay.
Sure, we can keep it as her own. So to be clear, we don't need to talk about what he said to you, but you did a video call to him. And in that call, you asked if he could work on your car.
You
Right.
keep saying work on my car. I said look at my car.
Okay, look at your car, but you asked him personally in a video call.
Yes.
Okay, and that was maybe that morning?
I don't remember what time of day it was, but it was before I went to him.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and as you were saying, this day, I think you said you saw some other children there at other times, but this particular child, you only ever saw this child on this particular day.
Yes.
And the whole time you were there, from your testimony and from that police interview, you said that you never saw her face.
Yes.
And then you did also see some news stories about this case.
Yes.
Yeah, in the podcast that you talked about. Right, there were some podcasts.
I had already saw her on the news, but I did not know who she was.
Sure, but that was, by seeing those stories, that's how you started to think.
Well, I was sent the podcast after some other things that was told to me. That's when I received the podcast.
So initially, between the day you were at the shop, right, and then until you started to see that news, at first you didn't make this connection that maybe she was anyone in particular.
Not at all.
Okay. And then through seeing that news, those podcasts, that's when you started to think she
No,
was.
that's not the reason why I thought that.
No, but that's the timing, or it's not?
I guess you could say that.
That's when you started to, at least when you saw those things, that's when you started to wonder.
I was wondering before I saw the podcast.
Okay. In your police interview that you did,
Mhm.
did you tell them that at first when you saw the news you didn't really make a connection because of not having seen her face?
Yes.
Okay. So that interview was on February 26th, 2024, right?
Yes.
And you were having some trouble remembering some of the specific details from January 9th at that point?
Not so much as remembering maybe the order I remembered it in.
Okay. Were there some times, at least though, when you were asked some questions and some details that you had to say, I can't remember some things?
I can't remember now.
Okay. And would you agree that at least
Like,
when
it's been a minute.
okay. I
I
would just say,
probably did. I guess it would be safe to say because I didn't know.
okay, so you think it's safe to say that at that point in time, there are at least some details you were having a hard time, some questions you couldn't answer.
I can't disagree.
And it was pretty close in time, shortly before that police interview, that was when you first started to think that maybe this girl you'd seen at the shop had been Messiah Harris.
Can you repeat that?
So the first time you started to think that maybe that child, the one you saw, maybe that was Messiah Harris, that was pretty close in time to the police interview.
Maybe about a week or so before.
Okay. I believe, does it sound right to you that I think you told the police that it was on the Thursday prior to the interview?
Whatever the Thursday was after Valentine's Day.
Okay. So probably February 22nd. That was the Thursday prior to your interview.
Okay.
And then when you were at the shop, you primarily saw this child while she was inside a truck, right?
I didn't know it was a child in the truck until she kept getting out.
Okay, but when you saw her, she was in a truck?
I saw her getting out the truck, yes.
And were you inside your vehicle?
Yes.
You arrived in the daylight, right?
Yes.
And that's, I think, what you're referring to, right? Initially, that's when you didn't yet know somebody was in the truck.
Can you say that again?
So at the beginning, when you first got there, right, you didn't know right away that somebody was in the truck.
No, I didn't.
I think you had said before, because it was so light outside, it was a bit difficult to see into the truck.
I wasn't really paying attention to his truck. He was outside of it.
Sure. And then in your police interview, you referred to then seeing a light in the truck, and that's when you started to see somebody?
Yeah, that's when the door opened.
Okay, so there's a light turned on, and at the same time a door opened?
That's the reason the light was on.
Okay, because the truck door was open. Yes?
Sure.
And you said that you saw a couple different times her go back and forth to the gas station?
Yes.
And only at one of those different times you were on your way to the gas station as well?
Yes.
But for that whole time, she remained in front of you?
When I was going into the gas station, she was in front of me. When I walked into the gas station, she went to the left, I went straight, and over to the right.
For that walk over to the gas station, was it getting dark at that point?
It was already dark.
Okay. And while she was in the truck, you were not sure exactly which part of the truck this was?
I can't remember, no.
Okay. So you understood initially that when you arrived, you'd probably have to wait at the shop sometime?
Yes.
I think you referred to just one other car he worked on first. Is that all there was before you?
It was actually another vehicle out there, but I don't pay my brother to work on my car, so I had to wait until he was done making his money.
Sure.
So I waited.
Sure. So do you know how many cars he worked on before he got to you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know if there were any other customers present in person?
I did see someone, I can't remember what kind of car they was in, but it was, I believe, a gentleman that needed to pull into the garage because Jarvis asked me to move my car out the way because I was blocking the garage, so yes.
Was this someone you recognized at all?
No.
So in total, other than Jarvis, or who you referred to as King, was there anyone present that you recognized that day?
No. Just King and my brother.
So as you said, the sun set while you were there. Do you know about how long it was light out before it got dark?
Well, I got there about 4 o'clock. It didn't take long for it to get dark. I don't remember the exact time, but it got dark pretty fast.
Okay, and then other than when you went to the gas station, were you always at the shop?
What do you mean?
So did you go anywhere else?
No,
Okay.
I never left. All I did was move my car when he asked me to move my car. And once the driveway was clear, I back where I was. I didn't go anywhere else.
Okay. And when you were present, not going to the gas station, were you always inside your vehicle?
Yes,
Were your doors open or closed?
closed.
Okay, and were your windows up or down?
They were up unless I asked him something.
Okay, so sometimes if you needed to communicate, you just open the window.
Or I would call him, yeah.
And you were saying today that at one point you did speak to Jarvis about who this girl was.
Yes.
And when you were talking to the police about this, you had said that you weren't sure exactly what his response was.
What I said was I wasn't sure of the wording.
Sure, that's what I mean. That
Okay.
You told the police, right, that it might have been King's niece, or maybe he said it's my homeboy's niece.
He said it was his partner or King's niece, but he definitely said it was someone else's niece.
Okay, I think, does it sound right to you that you used the term homeboy's niece with the police?
I probably did.
Okay.
That's all it was saying to me.
And then that's what you continued to think at first, right? At first you just believed that it was someone else's niece.
Yeah,
Specifically, you thought it was probably King's niece.
that's what I was told.
Which I think, as we established, right, King is the same person as Cordell, right?
Yes.
And then after that, you would listen to some of these podcasts and to the news.
I listened to his kid's mother, and then I watched the podcast.
Okay, so those are some things that happened. Both.
Yes.
And then once you started to have this different information you were gathering, then you kind of started to look into it for yourself.
Yes.
Do some of your own investigation.
Yes.
And then at one point following that, that's when you decided to go back to the shop
Yes.
to speak to Cordell
Yes.
and to discuss some of these things you've been learning with him.
Yes.
You and Jarvis are not particularly close.
I wouldn't say that we're really distant. I don't see him every day. I don't talk to him every day, but he's my brother.
Okay. He's your brother, but you don't have a very close relationship, or?
He's my brother.
Okay. What about with his children? Are you close with his children?
Some of the ones that I know.
So he has 13 kids, right?
I have no idea.
Do you have an idea of around how many kids he has?
A lot.
Okay. Do some of them live with different mothers?
Yes.
And you don't spend time with all of them?
No.
So which ones do you know?
I don't want to say their names. They're minors.
Okay.
And I don't want to disclose their identity.
Could you just give like a number instead? How many do you know?
I'm counting. About 8.
So when you say 8 that you know, does that mean 8 that you have like personal contact with?
I have.
Okay. When is the last time that you've seen any of them?
Maybe 2 months ago.
Were you and Jarvis raised by your grandmother?
For the most part.
And were there some events surrounding her death that related to your relationship with Jarvis that impacted some things?
No.
Oh, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Can you redirect?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Butts, you said that there was another reason, there was a different reason that you thought that it was Messiah that you had saw that day. When you were starting to compile, or when you talked to Shannon Harris, and then you got the podcast, before that you said there was other reasons why you had thought that was Messiah.
So, am I?
Yes.
Can I speak for
What is
okay,
that? Yes.
So, at the time, I didn't know. Once I realized that it was a possibility that I saw her, there were several reasons that led me to believe that it was a possibility I was there. And I didn't want to get into detail as far as what I knew before the podcast. But if you would like, I would explain to you why I thought these things.
Your Honor,
It's up to you.
can we approach?
Yes. We'll be right back. Go in the hallway.
You need some water or something? Can you get some water from there? Can you give her some water?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Calm down, okay? Calm down. Calm down.
It's gonna be alright. Come on. Take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay.
You need to do some more?
No, just it.
Okay.
I got like 2 more minutes.
Okay, we are back on the record. Ms. Butts, you are still under oath. Ms. Ripley, go right ahead.
Thank you. So, Ms. Butts, what's the sources of these reasons that you have? Are these things that you know from your personal knowledge? Are these things that you observe yourself?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So these reasons that you were thinking of, what are the sources of them? Is it somebody told you something? Is it something that you saw yourself, you observed, or a coupling of that?
I would say a bit of both.
Okay.
Things that I was told and things that I heard.
Okay. Were there heard from Jarvis?
No.
Okay. Were these things that you had already known prior
Prior
to thinking that that was Messiah that you saw?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on the question.
So are these things, the sources that you have for these reasons, are they like things that you have personal knowledge of, or are they things that somebody told you about?
These were things that I was told. I'm trying to understand the question that you're asking me.
Ms. Ripley, you're referring to the question before we went into sidebar about her leading up to believing that it was possibly Messiah Harris at the shop, correct?
Yes.
Does that help clarify
Okay.
the line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so those reasons, those things, are those things that you had known before? Are they based on your observations, or?
Well, these were things that I was told. And after asking the questions that I needed to ask, I came up with the conclusion that it was a possibility that Naziah was the little girl that I saw that day.
Okay, thank you. You said that when you were parked at Jarvis's shop, that it was getting dark out.
Yes.
Okay. That darkness, is that maybe the reason why the color on the jacket stood out?
Well, the jacket didn't stand out until I was walking into the gas station behind her because I wasn't really like paying attention to what she had on. I just kept seeing her get in and out of the truck, going in the gas station and coming back to the truck, and that's what caught my attention.
Okay, so the movement is what attracted you to it at first?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing for the judge. Nothing further.
Okay, Ms. Butts, you are done testifying. Watch your step coming out of the witness box, okay? Okay, one last witness for today, correct?
Yes, Judge. At this time, people would call Latriece Johnson.
Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You do. Okay. Watch your step.
Speak into this mic. Pick it up more than we have if you like.
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Ripley.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Latriece Johnson,
And how old are you?
31.
And I don't want to know your exact address, but what street do you live on?
Outer Drive in Belfort.
Okay. And what kind of vehicle did you drive back in January of 2024?
A blue Nissan Sentra.
Okay. And do you recall being interviewed by Detroit police back on August 30th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And fair to say that was in relation to a Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know a Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. And how is it that you know Jarvis Butts?
He's my daughter's father.
Okay. And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
He's right there and he's wearing green.
And Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant?
So reflective.
Thank you. And you said that he's your daughter's father.
Yes.
How old is your daughter?
She just turned 2.
And when did you meet Jarvis Butts?
2019.
And how was it that you met him?
I had a flat tire and I went to his auto shop on Warren and Casual, a Neff.
Now, you said you have one daughter with Mr. Butts. Do you have any other children?
Yes.
Okay. What other children do you have?
I have a son.
Okay. And how old is he?
He's 7.
And that is not a child by Mr.
No.
Butts? Okay. Now, do you recall, we'll take you back to February 15th, 2024. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened that day?
Police came to my home, asking me if I know Jarvis and have I seen Naziah
Okay.
before.
All right. And did you, I guess, did they do anything at your house when you were there?
They searched my house.
Did they ever search, on that day, did they search your vehicle?
No,
Okay.
they just looked in there. They didn't do a full, I don't know if that was what you call a search of them looking inside.
Okay. Was there ever a time that you allowed Jarvis to use your vehicle?
Yes, one time.
Okay. And which
2 times, I should say.
2 times? Okay.
Ms.
And
Johnson, can you speak up just a little bit louder?
2 times.
Thank you.
in which vehicle was that?
The blue Nissan Sentra.
Okay. And I showed you a PowerPoint before of 197 photos of a Nissan Sentra. Do you recall seeing those photos?
Yes.
Ms.
And
Ripley, can you hold off one moment for the court reporter?
oh, sorry. Yes. Do you recall me showing you the photos of a Nissan Sentra before?
Yes.
Okay. And in showing you those photos, did those fairly and accurately depict how your Nissan Sentra looked back on August 30th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Now, well, first I'll move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 11, the PowerPoint of the Nissan Sentra.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 11?
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish?
Yes.
Now, when you let Jarvis Butts borrow your vehicle, did it look? Oops, sorry. Did it look how it was photoed?
The back was messed up, but the front was good.
Okay.
It was fixed.
So back in January of 2024, your car still had the front end?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the only difference in how it looked
On
from?
the photo, yes.
Okay. So that's the only difference in how it looked from January of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. When is it that Mr. Butts borrowed your vehicle?
January 9th.
Is that the first time?
Yes,
Okay. And you said there was a second time?
yes.
When was that?
I think it was either the day next day or the day after that day. I don't remember.
Okay. The first time, let's talk about the first time. How did it come about that he borrowed your car?
He called and asked if he can use my car to do something with his son.
Okay. And when is it that or how did he get your car?
I didn't get home till about 9 o'clock, and he came to my house to pick
Okay.
my car.
Is that 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.?
9 p.m.
9 p.m.? Okay. And you said he came to your house and picked it up?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, did Mr. Butts say how long he was going to borrow your car for?
No,
Okay. Did you have a reason, a time where you expected it back?
at least 2 hours.
Okay. When did Mr. Butts return with your car?
The next morning.
Was this normal, abnormal?
No, not normal.
Not normal? Okay. And did Mr. Butts say what he was doing when he had your car?
No.
Okay. Did you notice anything different about or in your car after his use that first time?
No.
Okay. Did you notice anything in the back seat that was different?
There was a pair of glasses that was left that my son was playing with at the time.
Okay. And I'm going to show you. In People's Exhibit 11, photo 37. Where at would your son be sitting?
On the passenger side,
Okay, in the passenger.
on the back seat.
So, where is it? You can kind of see it better in photo 41. He would sit behind the passenger seat.
Yes.
Okay. What? Describe the glasses that he was playing with.
I believe they were clear around the frame part. I don't know what the ends look like, but I do remember they were clear around the frames.
Okay. And I want to show you what's already been introduced as People's Exhibit 12.
Yes.
Is there anything in People's Exhibit 12 that you recognize?
The glasses.
Okay. How is it that you recognize those glasses?
They were clear just like that. The one my son was playing with.
Okay. Now, you said your son was playing with them in the back seat. How did you get them from your son?
I told him to give them to me because I didn't know who glasses they were.
Okay. How is it that you come to ask Jarvis about these glasses?
Well, my son was playing with them when I was with Jarvis at his shop.
And I guess,
The next day, I went up to the shop, and my son, picking my son up from school, Jarvis was see his daughter, and my son was playing in the back with the glasses.
okay. From when Jarvis had borrowed your car and returned it to you picking up your son from school, had anybody else borrowed your car?
No.
Okay. So you're at the shop, you see your son playing with the glasses, you take them from him.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, tell me, what does Jarvis do?
He snatched them from me and said those were his son's glasses.
Okay. Okay. And do you think anything of this at the time?
No, I just thought that was his sunglasses because he said he was taking his son somewhere in the car.
All right. Now, the second time that Jarvis asked to use your car, you said that was either the day after or the next day.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about how that comes to happen.
Well, he comes to my house when he get off work. He comes by to get my car. Say he needs to use it again for his son. I said okay. And he said he wasn't gonna be gone for that long like he was the time before. I said okay. And he was only gone for like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours.
Okay. And are those the only 2 times that he ever used your car?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Were there times that he would be in your car with you,
Yes.
that you would take in places?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any contact with Jarvis since he turned himself in on February 7th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that through?
Phone calls, get out, text, app.
Okay.
Ms.
And
Johnson, you need to pull that microphone off the ledge. Yep, that way I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
do you recall a phone call in which Jarvis asked you some things about your vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And you've heard that call before?
Yes.
Okay, and was that call that I played for you, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the call that you had with
Yes.
Jarvis and him asking you about the car?
Yes.
No, I'd move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 13.
Any objection?
No objection.
And
Okay.
Your Honor, may I publish?
Yeah, it'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 13, and you can publish. Can I also see Exhibit 12 when you get a moment?
Yes, Judge.
May I approach?
Yes. Thank you.
And for the record, this phone call is 6 minutes and 43 seconds long.
The call from
You didn't get what she
a
said?
unit at Wayne County Jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. The inmate has requested that you pay for this call. If you don't wish to talk, hang up now. Thank you for using Tony. Yeah.
Hello?
What is it?
217. 219.
You want that?
Huh?
You want that?
0.
Hello?
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 Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Alright. I don't know what the fuck going on, man, but yeah, they done did everybody shit.
You said what?
I said, I don't know what the fuck going on, but they done did everybody shit.
Everybody shit. You on everybody house? They come to my shit?
I don't know.
I don't even think they know of me.
But I need you to, anything that I had, anything that I touched, that's for yourself, man. Anything about me, man. That's for your goddamn self. You feel me?
Yeah.
Huh?
Clearly.
Yeah, so should I go to mama's house?
Go on.
Yeah. Go to your mama's house, man.
Alright. How you calling me?
My house, I'm doing something I ain't supposed to be doing. But go to my house, man.
Huh?
Go to my house, get mama a car.
Get her car?
If you gotta go home, use her car.
Okay. So don't use my car, though.
I don't know what's going on, bro. They're taking everybody out, bro. Use your mama car, man, and drive around, man. Try to fix yourself with your mama car, man. Your brother car, somebody's car. I don't know. This shit is beyond me.
Okay.
This is beyond me. I don't know what the fuck, man. Clean them motherfuckers up or something. I don't know.
My car?
Yeah, they got my phone, they got my car, they got their cars, they got their guns, I don't know what the fuck they do, bro.
They looking for something.
Yeah, but what the fuck did that got shit to do with me is what I'm saying. That got shit to do with me, man, and I'm not understanding what the fuck is going on, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I'll call you later, man. Like, I don't know what's going on. Wrap my head around this shit, though. This shit's starting to piss me off.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with you later, man.
Okay.
Alright. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
You got your job, your regular job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My regular job. 6:45.
I'll call you about 7:30.
Alright.
I love you.
Alright, cool.
Now, what is it? What did you think when Jarvis told you those things?
I didn't know what to think when he told me those things.
Okay. What did you do in response to receiving this call, if anything?
Nothing.
Okay. Did you clean anything up?
No.
Did you wipe anything down?
No.
Okay. And that would be in your house?
Yes. House, car,
Car?
everything.
Okay.
Didn't touch a done. Nothing.
All right. clarify a little bit. Jarvis borrowed your car on the 9th,
Yes,
brought it back the 10th in the morning,
yes.
Did-
Yeah.
about 6 a.m. or so, or in the
Yeah.
morning?
In the morning, about 8:30, 8 o'clock.
8:30.
I
All
was
right.
taking my son to school.
Okay. And did he borrow it later that day again, or the next day?
I can't remember if it was later that day or the next day. I just know he did it again. He
Okay.
borrowed it again.
Okay. Nothing further, Judge.
Good afternoon. And you indicated that you knew Mr. Butts since 2019,
Yes.
correct? You met him at the shop, correct?
Yes.
At his shop.
Yes.
Would you describe your relationship with him as a
Whole.
I'm sorry?
You said as a whole, we do.
Would you describe it as a physical relationship, or was it a real relationship?
It was a physical relationship.
Okay, so you knew Mr. Butts was seeing other people, correct?
Yes.
All right, so that's not a surprise to you,
No.
correct?
The fact that he lied to me, that's a surprise.
Okay.
About
So he would tell you he was coming over, and you wouldn't know where he was coming from, correct?
yes,
That's nothing new.
that's nothing.
Okay. Do you know, besides your daughter with Mr. Butts, do you know Mr. Butts' other children?
I met quite a few of them.
Okay. Have you met any of the other mothers?
About two in the beginning of the relationship we had. He introduced me to about 2 or 3 of the mothers.
Okay. And have you had any issues with the mothers?
No,
Okay. So you know Mr. Butts works as a mechanic, correct?
yes,
And have you ever seen him wearing safety glasses in the shop?
yes.
Okay. Safety glasses are clear, aren't they?
They're not those.
They're not.
They're not the kinds that I've seen. No.
Okay. So he borrowed your car on the 9th, correct?
Yes,
And you said he came over around 9 p.m.
yes.
All right. When he came over 9 p.m., was there anything out of the ordinary that you noticed?
No,
Okay. Did you have a conversation with him that day?
we swapped out cars. We had a quick swap out cars, and he was gone.
And there was no other conversation
No.
that day?
No.
You didn't notice anything about his appearance?
No,
Didn't notice anything about his demeanor?
no,
Okay. And you say he came back the next day?
yes.
All right.
The next morning.
Could he have dropped your car off later that night? I mean, earlier that night?
No, he did not.
He didn't drop it off at, say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, he did not.
Okay. And you said that your son, and forgive me, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there was a lot of things in this car.
Mhm.
Is that the condition the car always was in?
I mean, my son have his toys. There's always stuff in there, yes.
Okay.
But it's only my kids' stuff that be in my car because me and my kids are the only people that really be in my car. For my mother,
Okay. And your testimony is Jarvis Butts, prior to the 9th, had never been in this car before?
no, he's been in my car.
Okay.
He's been in my car. I take him places.
Okay. So, your son finds the glasses,
Yes.
correct? And you say he finds the glasses, this would be on the 10th? He finds the glasses?
Yes, either the next day or whenever. I don't remember what day, but I know the next day. It was the next day we went over. Yes, it was.
So you're not sure what day the glasses were
I'm
found?
not sure what day the glasses was found because I went to his job twice
Okay.
after that. So I don't know which day. I don't know if it was the 10th or the 11th.
So it could have been either day.
Yes.
All right.
But
And
they was in my car.
so your son was playing with these glasses.
Yes.
There was nothing remarkable about these glasses, correct?
They were just clear glasses.
And so you couldn't identify the glasses and say, hey, these glasses were smaller than a normal pair of glasses. These must be a pair of kids' glasses, right? You couldn't say that, correct?
He said they were his son glasses. So, is he saying as his son, that would mean it was a kid's glasses, right?
Okay. So you say he said they were his son's glasses?
Yes.
And
Mr. Hawthorne.
I'm sorry.
You sure?
I got a haul. You want one right quick? Oh, okay. I got you.
Go right ahead.
All right. So you said your son was playing with the glasses, correct? And you took the glasses from your son, correct?
Yes.
And what did you do with them once you took them?
He was playing with them when I was up there with Jarvis. When I took them from him and said, "Those are not your glasses," Jarvis took them from my hand.
Okay. So you didn't examine these glasses, correct?
I looked at him on his face when he was playing with them on his face.
Okay.
So how can I not examine these glasses when I'm looking at my son with these glasses on his face?
I mean, you didn't study these glasses, correct?
No, I didn't study these glasses,
Okay.
but they were clear and they were on my son's face.
So later on, you showed a picture of Naziah Harris, correct?
Yes.
And you saw her wearing clear glasses as well, correct?
Yes.
At the time you saw her with the glasses, did anyone tell you that she was missing?
Yes, they did.
Were you
And they showed me the picture.
were you aware that she was missing?
From the news.
Okay. And were you aware that Mr. Butts was a suspect?
No,
Okay.
not at the time until they came to my door.
Okay. So when you told them that these glasses, you saw glasses similar to this.
I didn't tell them then.
Okay.
I didn't know about that until after.
All right.
It took me a minute to think about the glasses
So you came back and told them later.
when they came to my house.
Okay. That you saw a pair of glasses in your car.
Yes.
And the best you can say is that these glasses may be similar, correct?
They maybe what, similar?
Right.
Yes.
You cannot testify that these are the exact same glasses, correct?
No, I cannot testify those are the exact same glasses.
Can you tell whether the glasses had prescription lenses in them?
I didn't put them on my face, sir, so how
So-
will I know?
Did your son say anything about that?
No, how would he know? He said he was, what, 6, 7, 5 at the time. So how would he know what prescription glasses are?
You're wearing prescription glasses, right?
Yes.
If you take them off, you see differently, correct?
Yes, but I did not put the glasses on.
Yeah.
So how will I know they were prescription glasses if I didn't wear them?
My question
My son
was-
wore the glasses, so how am I supposed to know? I don't have his eyes.
My question was, did your son say anything about the
No,
glasses?
He was
didn't say that.
playing with the glasses, and I told him to take the glasses off because we didn't know who glasses they were.
Okay.
I didn't know if they were prescription, so I told him to take them off. When he take them off, he handed it to me. Oh, Jarvis said, "Oh, those are my sunglasses," and he snatches it from my hand.
Okay. And what did Jarvis do with the glasses?
I I don't know. He went towards his car.
Okay. You didn't think anything else of the glasses, did you?
No.
Okay.
All he said was those were his sunglasses at the time.
You're employed?
Yes.
All right. And your Nissan, was that your primary mode of transportation?
No.
That was a secondary car?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't drive my car. I use my mom's car when I'm working.
So, is the Nissan your car?
Yes, it's my car.
Okay. And Mr. Butts called you and told you to drive someone else's car?
Yep.
All right. Just one moment. So when he told you that, you didn't do anything, right?
No.
You didn't think anything of it,
No.
correct? You didn't clean out this car, correct?
No.
So anything of Mr. Butts would still be in this car, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir. Ms. Johnson, you were asked about knowing that Mr. Butts was seeing other women,
Yes.
but you said he lied about things.
Yes.
What is that he lied about?
About how many women, if he was still dealing with the women,
Okay.
everything, pretty much.
Okay. So you didn't, fair to say you wouldn't know how many women were out there?
Yes.
Okay. And did you know that he would be dealing with women at the same time as he was dealing with you?
Indiana,
Yes.
I'm going to object at this point. I'm not sure what the relevance of that is as to this. How many women he's dealing with.
It goes
You
to
have a response?
Yeah, it goes to whether or not he would be like whether he's secretive about things, whether he would know about.
He's very secretive.
1 second, Ms. Johnson.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay, 1 second.
That was really that was really the extent of the question.
It was asking across how
Yeah.
many women he slept with
Yeah.
and whether she knew.
Wanted to get that was really the extent of the question.
Okay, we'll just ask the question again.
Yeah. Just was he a secretive person to you?
Yes, he's very secretive.
Okay. And when he told you a reason why he wanted to use your car, did you have any reasons to think that that might not be true?
I honestly thought it was for his son. So, whenever he says anything about his kids, I believe him when it comes to his kids. I thought he was a great father to his kids. That's what he put on to me, but
Okay. So that's what he led you to believe?
yeah.
Okay. Nothing further, Judge.
Yeah, and I actually got a couple of follow-up questions.
Go ahead.
Now, you said that he was secretive, correct?
Yes.
And that's when it came to women, correct?
Yes.
That bothered you, correct?
I mean, it would bother anyone when a man is supposed to be telling you the truth and he being really secretive about everything. When you're being honest with them.
So you were upset about that?
Honesty.
So you were upset about that, correct?
About him being with other women, cheating? Not really, because I was doing it too. How about that?
You all gotta be quiet.
No further questions.
Any last questions, please?
No, Judge.
Okay, you're done, Ms. Johnson. Questions, good. Okay, is that the last witness for today?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, anything else that needs to go on the record before we end today?
Not for the people, Judge, thank you.
No, from the defense.
Okay, we're off the record. Back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yes, Judge.
Sorry.
I might, I have a good chance. You know what?
It's not a secret.
You're not gonna secret outline. Need your prescription glasses.
Yeah, this is rough outline. That's where we're at. We are trying.
That was
I can't imagine changing your mind.
What?